All right, so today we're jumping into a really fascinating breakdown of the common traps people fall into when they're learning a new social skill. Specifically, we're talking about the art of the cold approach, just starting a conversation with a complete stranger. We're going to look at 6 very distinct archetypes of guys who think they're doing the right things to improve, but are actually, well, just spinning their wheels. And this quote from Mark Twain just perfectly sets the stage for everything we're about to cover. Because let's be honest, the biggest thing holding you back usually isn't the stuff you don't know. No, it's the stuff you're absolutely sure is working that's actually doing all the damage. And this is such a powerful idea from the source material. It's saying, hey, before you worry about adding new skills or techniques, the fastest way to get better is to just stop doing the dumb stuff. It's about getting rid of the big, obvious mistakes first. Think of it as addition by subtraction. Okay, so let's get into our first category. This is all about the guys who live and breathe the just do it philosophy. They believe that more action, more approaches, no matter how sloppy or chaotic, is the only way forward. But as we're about to see, quantity over quality can be a real dead end. First up, we've got a guy the author calls Mr. Socially Uncalibrated Spammer. And man, this guy is just a whirlwind of activity. He's all over the place, but it's frantic, it's messy, and honestly, it's pretty counterproductive. And this is his entire worldview, right here. His solution to every problem is just approach more. He treats every social situation like a video game where you just have to mash the A button as fast as you can. He completely ignores all the nuance, the social context, the timing, the vibe. He just goes without ever asking why it's not working. So why is this so bad? Well, for starters, he just looks needy and desperate. He creates this negative vibe where everyone in the room sees him crashing and burning over and over. But here's the worst part. He never actually learns or gets any better. Why? Because every now and then he gets what's called a fool's mate success. Basically, he gets lucky. And that one lucky win tragically reinforces all of his terrible habits. Now, next up in this action-obsessed bucket is a guy who's a little different. He treats every single social interaction like it's a math problem on a spreadsheet. Meet Mr. Optimization. For him, it's all about the numbers, the data, the efficiency. He's the guy literally asking about his open-to-lay count ratio. He's trying to find the most efficient, streamlined path from point A to point B, completely forgetting he's talking to a human being, not trying to solve a logic puzzle. His entire interaction follows the super rigid robotic checklist. It's an escalation ladder that he tries to climb as fast as he possibly can. There's no room for real connection or just being in the moment. It's just check, check, check. And that pull energy means he's always the one doing the chasing. Okay, so we've seen the guys who do way too much. Now, let's flip the script and talk about their polar opposite, the guys who live entirely in their heads. They're all about theory, but have zero practice. All talk, no walk. And that brings us to a super common one, Mr. No Game. This is the eternal student. He's always convinced he's just one more book, one more YouTube video, one more seminar away from finally being ready to actually do something. And what's his go-to excuse? Nah, I just like to keep it natural, bro. The irony is just staggering, because this is the guy who has consumed hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of theory. He knows all the techniques, all the frameworks, but when it's game time, he does nothing. So what's the end result? All that knowledge just sits in his head, completely unused. He's like a library with the doors locked. When he does manage to talk to someone, his opener is a bland, hi, and the conversation fizzles out and goes absolutely nowhere. He's too scared to apply any of the structured stuff he learned, the very things designed to make an interaction interesting. And this leads us to the most extreme, and honestly, the most frustrating version of this type, the keyboard warrior. This is the guy who has completely mastered the theory of swimming without ever once getting in the water. Just look at this number, 193. That's how many comments he's posted online. Behind a screen, he is an absolute expert. He's in all the debates, he's analyzing every little detail, he's critiquing everyone else from the safety of his bedroom. But then you meet him in the real world, and you find out the truth. How many times has he actually done this himself? A big fat zero. It's all an act. The expertise is a total illusion built on theory, with absolutely no real-world experience to back it up. All right, on to our final category. This one covers the guys who've tried, maybe they've failed a few times, and now they're retreating back into old behaviors. The problem is they're disguising their retreat as a new, clever strategy. First in this group is what the source material calls the average frustrated chump, or AFC, who's masquerading as a guy who's still in the game. He gave it a shot, it didn't really work out, so now he's just slipping back into his old self, but he's wearing a new mask. Now this is where it gets really clever. It's all about the language he uses to fool himself. He calls going back to his old friends social circle game. He calls giving up and just goofing off self-amusement. He calls getting drunk and hitting on women at his table getting a table. But really, he's just gone right back to the same old patterns that never worked for him in the first place. And last but not least, we have the prankster. This is the guy who gets his entire social strategy from watching viral videos on social media. He mistakes what's entertaining for what's actually effective. Yeah, he's the guy using these super cheesy, over-the-top pickup lines he saw on YouTube or TikTok. His logic is, well, the video got 1 million views, so this line must be pure gold, right? He totally misses the point that those videos are edited and designed for an audience reaction, not for creating a real, genuine connection with another person. So, after going through all these different ways to get it wrong, what's the actual answer? What's the real path forward? Well, the source material points to a crucial shift in mindset, a shift that separates the people who improve from the people who stay stuck forever. Look, when you're first starting out, just overcoming your fear and taking action is a massive win. You get credit for that. But after the first few weeks, the game changes. You don't get points just for showing up anymore. The bar gets raised. The real journey, the real improvement, begins when you shift your focus. It's no longer about, will I do it? It becomes, how will I do it? How can I do it better, more calibrated, more intelligently? That's where the growth is. So the final question to really ask yourself is, which of these archetypes are you in danger of becoming? And what is the one small change you can make today to start focusing on the how?